So today, we're going to break down the anatomy of workplace stress. We're going to put a name to all those pressures we feel so we can actually have a clear language to understand what's really happening in our professional lives. I mean, think about it, right? Stress isn't just this vague, I'm so overwhelmed feeling. It's really a series of specific challenges and moments. And if we give them names, if we create a shared vocabulary, we can start to figure out how to handle them way more effectively. All right, let's dive right in. Look, before we get to the really big, dramatic, stressful moments, we got to understand the foundation it's all built on. And that's the constant, underlying pressure we call the daily grind. So, this is our starting point: stress. Just think of it as that constant hum of tension in the background of our work lives. It's kind of the engine that powers pretty much every other challenge we're about to talk about. Okay, let's get a little more specific. One of the biggest drivers of that stress is, you guessed it, workload. It's just the sheer amount of stuff, tasks, projects, you name it, on our plate. It's the how much that so often feels like we're about to hit a breaking point. And if the workload is the how much, then the deadline is the how soon. This is that ticking clock in the back of your head that adds this intense layer of urgency to everything you do. It's what turns a big pile of work into an immediate, high-pressure problem. So, what happens when that heavy workload and those crazy deadlines aren't just a temporary thing, but they become your entire way of life? Well, that's when you get the workaholic. It's the point where those boundaries between work and life just completely vanish, and your job consumes everything. Okay, so we've got this daily grind, this constant hum of stress. But let's see how that builds into something even more intense. We're moving now from the constant pressure to those sharp, high-stakes moments. These are the pressure peaks, where it feels like all eyes are on you. And here are three perfect examples. Whether you're standing up in front of the top brass, trying to lead a really critical meeting, or in the middle of closing a huge deal, these are the moments that can define a career. Your ability to stay cool and perform when the pressure is on is literally being put to the test. Now, here's what's really interesting. This kind of intense pressure isn't just for those big spotlight moments. It's also woven right into how we communicate every single day. Just look at these. Every single one is a communication task, but it's supercharged with pressure. You've got to be incredibly precise when you're writing that report on a crazy deadline. You need total clarity when you're on the phone in a language that's not your first. You have to have that cultural awareness when meeting important visitors. The stakes are high, even in what seems like everyday stuff. All right, let's shift gears. We're moving beyond just tasks and deadlines to something even more powerful: the personal stakes. These are those direct one-on-one moments where it's not really about the company's bottom line. It's about you. These are what you might call moments of truth. And this shows the two sides of that personal pressure perfectly. On one hand, you've got the stress of fighting for yourself, asking for that raise you feel you deserve. And on the other hand, you've got the stress of defending the company, taking the heat from a really unhappy customer. Both are incredibly tough, just in totally different ways. So, we've talked about the daily grind, performance peaks, communication hurdles, personal stakes. But what if all of these little stressors are all feeding one single giant fear, an ultimate pressure that just makes everything else feel worse? And this is it, the ultimate fear: losing your job. This is like the gravitational pull that makes every other pressure feel 10 times heavier. Suddenly, a tight deadline isn't just a deadline, it's a test of your value. A tough negotiation isn't just about a deal, it's a measure of whether you're good enough. This fear just magnifies everything. So let's just pull back for a second and look at the big picture. When you put all of these words together: workload, deadlines, high-stakes moments, personal conflicts, and that deep-down fear, you're not just looking at a list of words anymore. You're looking at the blueprint for a lifestyle. What we've done here is build a language, a vocabulary that really captures the feeling of our professional world. We now have the words to describe the pressures we're all facing. And seeing it all laid out like this, well, it leaves us with one really big question. If this is the language of our work, is this the lifestyle we really want?